Did you know that the 16th of October is World Food Day? And what that implicitly means is that right after the show, there will be free food courtesy of my lovely colleagues, Benga and Joe, taking us on a treat. Thank you very much and welcome to Breakfast Central. My name is Olive Emodi, and for the next 3 hours in celebration of World Food Day, we'll be feeding you with the latest in politics and the economy. Stay with us.
Thank you very much, Olive, for putting us on the spot. But just right after the show, I have a few anecdotes and wise words for you. So it will be food for thought, food to nourish your intellect and this World Food Day. I hope you really munch on that and enjoy that. Happy World Food Day, my sister. I haven't said that. Good morning and welcome to Breakfast Central. You know the drill here. I mean, we bring you all the latest news and information, insightful analysis. We dissect the biggest issues so that you can have an understanding. We carry everyone along so you can feel the pulse of what Nigerians are saying. Welcome to the greatest breakfast television show on earth. This is Breakfast Central. Over to you, Joe.
Thank you. I think I always like the fact that you guys go first. So what it does for me is it makes it easier for me to just stand on
existing protocol.
So welcome. My name is Joe.
Actually, you sit on existing protocol.
Yeah, I mean, yes, sitting on. Anyway, like our guest yesterday said, we shouldn't take every word to literally mean the same thing.
Because there's metaphor.
Yes, metaphoric.
And our evangelistic guests.
Yes,
political evangelist.
Political evangelist. You know, says all other political parties.
It's always a pleasure talking to you. I wish we can invite him again today.
Yeah, I think he should be here physically. I think I prefer physical because the internet
would be nice.
Even the internet was scared of the grammatical, you know.
The pharmaceutical, evangelical.
The one he said that really blew me was phantasmagorical. I said, wow. Ever since the days of Patrick Ogbayagmo, I haven't heard this much in terms of grammar.
Yes.
But welcome to Breakfast Central. Now let's get into wake-up conversations. If you're tuning in for the first time, we're streaming live on YouTube. So if you have to leave the house, you can take us with you on your devices and continue streaming. You can drop comments and we'll be taking them. Let's start off with our wake-up conversations where reports have it that Conservative Party, they haven't really shown as much confidence in Kemi Badenoch. 46% of the party members believe she should support her, while the rest believe that about 50% believe she should not lead to the next general elections in 2029. Let me just run through a bit of the numbers. So 50% of Tory members believe she should not lead the party into the next general elections. 46 say she should be the candidate. Regarding her performance as leader, 61% view she's doing a good job, 37% disagree. 29% of respondents view her unfavorably. That's, of course, that they hold a negative perception, whereas about 70% hold a positive view overall. Now, we're looking at popularity and fame data. Popularity and fame data. Awareness. 83% of surveyed Britons have heard of her. Net popularity. 18% have a positive opinion. 35% have a negative opinion. Remainder is neutral. So, when we're looking at who the Prime Minister in waiting is, a huge chunk of them believe that Kemi Badenoch is not the Prime Minister in waiting. And a number of reasons you would look at. Many people think it's not necessarily about Nigeria and her statements about Nigeria. But yes, of course, Nigerians might react a certain kind of way. More like when somebody who's been attacking you has had an issue, they might start to celebrate that. But it does not necessarily mean that Kemi Badenoch is out. Right, she has up until May 2026 to make a huge tangible change. But this just affects, it's just talking about the opinion poll. And this
is just an opinion, YouGov opinion poll. I mean, when it comes to the former Nigerian, Kemi Badenoch.
Did you say former Nigerian?
Yes, she doesn't want to associate with Nigeria.
But she came to Nigeria recently.
Let's help her. You can visit. You've been to America.
And I was shocked her accent changed. She wasn't sounding like she was from the UK.
Well, they say when you're in Rome, you behave
like she was like, hey, Temi.
You give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. I saw that video. How recent was it? Do you think it was very recent?
I think it's not too recent. But then again, it just showed that this is the person you think she is, but she's not.
And back to the issue of the former Nigerian. I mean, she's...
I like that word.
She's disparaged Nigeria at any slight opportunity she gets. And you think Nigerians will have one slight thing. They don't even care if it's a poll. Just anything to put her in a negative light. They are very happy to celebrate her. And boy, it was celebrations galore. Even me, I was dancing in my own.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, because we're proudly Nigerians. I know we do have our issues, but don't throw Nigeria and Nigerians under the bus at every slight opportunity just to score points and impress your white conservative base.
But like you said, it's a poll though, right? Yes. So it means that she could still turn things around in a few months to come.
And then there will still be elections. So it doesn't mean that if she's still leader of the Conservative Party, it's automatic premiership.
And you can't go to court. You know, you don't like it to go to court.
Yeah.
The system is very solid.
It's not the same.
So I guess with every day what they're doing is just checking as she leads the Conservative Party to see if this will be her road to 10 Downing Street, if she'll make it there.
And I was looking forward to, seeing a black prime minister. We've had an Indian prime minister in Rishi Sunak. We've had a Scottish prime minister in Gordon Brown, and we're looking forward to a Nigerian. But
no,
I don't
former
think
Nigerian.
Former Nigerian, yes.
You see,
Nigerian heritage.
You know what I like? You know what I like us as Nigerians? When a Nigerian reaches the peak of either a career or a position and so on, you hear us, we quickly associate like as a Niger boy.
I remember when Chinwetel Ejiofor won the BAFTA. BAFTA is British Actors Award. Film and Television Awards. The Enugu State Government then put up a full-page advertorial to celebrate.
So Nigerians, we know how to celebrate our own. You know, if you're of Nigerian descent, if you're a Nigerian who's making waves abroad, although that has been applauded and criticized because it feels like they wait until certain people have gone abroad and blown.
What about the Nigerians that are banged up abroad, that are locked up, they won't let them out? Why don't we celebrate them?
Let them celebrate themselves.
Even in Nigeria, they won't celebrate them here.
Didn't they just grant them pardon? It's not no celebration.
But we're beautiful people, trust me. There's no country you go to in the world you'd find a Nigerian. They're every single place. You find a Nigerian everywhere. And because of our tenacity, our ability to keep going, we are restless, we always push the boundaries. Anywhere we go to, we try as much as possible. Unknowingly, unknowingly, we dominate one way or the other.
Sports, look at the academic. Just look at the United States, for example.
Look at Ghana.
Professionals.
Look at Ghana. Ghanaians got tired recently and said, people have to leave, It's just one thing in us. It's not our fault. It's just that that's how we are. But let's see what Nigerians are saying. Nigerians are saying something. Nigerians are reacting to Kemi's,
Trust me, I know situation. There won't be very positive things.
Oluyemi Fasikpe, AICMC, Yemi Fash says, this is probably the first time I have felt the need to comment on UK politics. I already have more than enough going on in Nigeria as it is, but the Conservative Party's decision to vote against Kemi Badenoch, leading them into the next UK election, really caught my attention. Kemi's consistent display of hostility toward immigrants, despite having been one herself, has always been disappointing. It's one thing to have strong political views. It's another to completely disregard empathy and forget where you come from. Seeing her rejected by her own party feels like poetic justice. It's a reminder that integrity and self-awareness matter in leadership. Honestly, this is one piece of political news that feels quite satisfying.
I told you. I mean, Yemi Fasikpe just echoed my sentiments. Brilliant and well put together.
There's no iota of abuse.
Yeah, just very well, just straight to the point. And Oliver, I want to point. Can we go back to that tweet, please?
The former tweet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you see the AIMC there? It's a professional certification. Do you know what it means?
Please tell us.
Association of Check Your Mic.
I'm just joking. Whatever
oh my goodness.
It's just a joking stuff.
Please, don't mind doing that, please. Next one, quickly, let's see who else is talking. I mean, Kemi, will she get positive reviews? Let's go to the next.
Let's see.
Oh no, there are people that would still like that.
Anyway, Ed Jacob says, a sobering moment, not just politically, but culturally. Leadership is never guaranteed, but legacy is always shaped by how one carries their roots. Kemi Badenoch had a rare opportunity to show that a British stateswoman of Nigerian descent could lead with pride, not destroying her ethnicity. Instead, she often chose insult over dignity. In a world that still questions the worth of African heritage, kindness to one's origin isn't optional. It's strategic. It builds bridges, earns trust, and reframes narrative. Nigeria, with all its complexity, deserved more than a footnote in her accent. It says it deserved acknowledgement. It also nuance and grace. Now, it goes on to say this decision may be political, but the lesson is generational. Never trade your roots for proximity to power. Own them, elevate them, because when the tide turns, it's your identity, not your alliances, that will speak for you. Good riddance to bad rubbish.
Ed Jacobs, fantastic tweet there. And you know, the quality of the tweets we've been getting, I had to take a second look at that. So Nigerians can be this civilized.
Yeah, very civilized. I mean,
informed.
I could have read that
and I like the lesson he said, like, just, you don't have to trade your roots to please some people. Rishi Sunak is of Indian origin. You never hear him disparage Indian
The Indian people are not
exactly.
He never took
so I hope she's learned her lessons.
Yeah, right. Tomorrow now she's going to do another
she's coming back.
People don't even know what's going on.
Of how they stole
all right, let's go.
Computer village.
Let's go.
Of how they sold fufu for her in computer village instead of iPhone 17.
I don't know what craze is going on with that.
Ambassador John says Kemi Badenoch's rejection by her own party says a lot. For all her loud rhetoric and divisive politics, even her colleagues see through the performance. You can't lead a party when your brand thrives more on controversy than competence. Leadership is about unity, vision, and credibility, not just catchy speeches and headline moments. The Conservative Party might be a mess, but they're not blind enough to hand the future to someone who's more interested in personal ambition than genuine service.
These tweets are fantastic.
You know, I'm going to, when we publish this morning's Breakfast Central, I would send Kemi Badenoch the link. I will at her on X and say, you know, madam,
please watch.
Riches and gold I have not for you, but please take a look at this. You might want to, this advice would help you in your political journey. It will go a long way.
Okay.
Fantastic tweets.
And the next tweet regarding this, just so you know, Nigeria doesn't want her back either.
Ladi.
So guys, relax. Let's just explain.
Ladi.
This is an opinion poll. It doesn't mean she ceases to be the Conservative leader. It does not mean her British nationality is taken away from her. And it does not mean that they're deporting her back to Nigeria.
Maybe he means it metaphorically, like the evangelists will say.
Well, so just to mention that she's not out of office. There are, however, short-term implications of this low opinion poll. Short-term implications meaning she may not be able to take them to the next level, to the sponsors within the party, if they see that there's popular dissent. And
it does something to her base psychologically too.
And I mean, just in terms of the support that she will get from within the party, from the financial backers of the party, there might be a reduction in that because they are getting the sense that there isn't public support.
Why would we invest in someone that is not likely going to?
Exactly. Anyway. However, the Conservatives, I believe, are still keen on having stability because changing, which it's possible, but changing her now will give a sense of instability to the party. But then again,
anyway, farewell.
I wanted to say good riddance, but that wasn't my word. It was
but she might still, I mean, like you said, as well, that she still has time to change things. So she might renew the hope of her base, the Conservatives.
Be careful. Be careful. Let's go to our next story. Our next story has got to do with a new terrorist has emerged, and I'm sure you've heard of this. Well, if you haven't, well, it's titled, or it's called Wulo Wulo. Now, they've emerged in North Central. They're said to be...
Of which country?
They're said to be Nigeria. They're said to be a splinter group of Boko Haram. So it's a new terrorist group. They call themselves Wulo Wulo. They've emerged in North Central Nigeria. You might be wondering why there's so much chaos, there's so much killings, fights, and so on happening, especially in the north, from the North Central. Well, these guys have come out to say, listen, we're new, and we're also going to shape into the system to cause more havoc. And while all of this is going on, our politicians are busy politicking. And everyone is doing a video and showing why they are decamping. Even the one who used to talk about common sense has now said that the common sense has led him to support the current administration. I mean, it's your decision. Nobody's saying you shouldn't. But we're just highlighting some of these recent issues that are happening within the society. But then again, that's the latest story. Just in case you do not know, there's a new terrorist group. They've come out, they've declared, they've mentioned, they've said that they are known as Wulu Wulu. But what are Nigerians saying on X concerning this? Because Nigerians, as it is, the North is not done dealing with a lot of
ISWAP, Boko Haram,
ISWAP, Boko Haram, the new one, Lakurawa, and now you have Wulu Wulu. And before you know, you have another splinter group coming out from Wulu Wulu and so on.
Not.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the defense headquarters, hopefully, before they even raise their ugly head to cause havoc, because we've been seeing lots of incidents in North Central states, Kogi and Kwara State recently. Maybe it's the activities of Wulu Wulu, but they should decimate them before they can cause any more havoc.
Especially Kwara. Yeah. Especially Kwara. Kwara used to be very peaceful, but now everybody is holding their breath, especially if you're moving around Kwara State. But let's see what Nigerians are saying very quickly on this one, particularly concerning Wulu Wulu. Edula says, Shebi then they negotiate. What do they think will happen? What do they think will happen? This is exactly why the world, excluding, he uses the word excluding Nigeria, does not negotiate with terrorists. More splinter groups will emerge for their own deal, and I said it as well. It's going to happen. It's normal. It's just
because when you negotiate,
if I can get my share, it's like kidnapping.
Yeah, you're giving it some form of legitimacy, and others will want to buy into that franchise.
Exactly.
And say, you know, this is lucrative.
When Evans Evans showed the world that Nigerians are the kidnapping business, and I don't know if I should also blame the media for having promoted Evans's nefarious acts to the public, and they turned it into a series. Because everybody who kept watching kept feeling like, wow, this guy is so big. During kidnapping, then I should go. Anyway, just my thoughts. Next tweet, let's see what Nigerians are saying concerning Wulu Wulu. She terrorist groups never plenty past Redeemed Church. Calm down. Next tweet, let's see, quickly. Whose job description is it to always go and get the names of these groups and tell us? Or do they tell their victims their names? Well, just to respond to that, Owambe. What they do is they put out a statement themselves. They either tell the villages, they write to them, they announce it, or the ones that...
Because I was wondering if they went to Corporate Affairs Commission to register their name.
I mean, after that,
they did a press conference.
They did most likely a press conference. You know, they negotiated.
But I mean, you won't put it beyond them, because in Katsina State they had a town hall. Yes.
Well, they are very welcome. If you live in Kwara, your life is in your hands. You depend on Nigerian Army at your own risk. Nah,
that's not that's not a tweet that inspires confidence in residents of Kwara.
But shouldn't we have seen a counter statement, either from the security operatives or from the presidency, stating that we are aware?
Hopefully,
especially from the
because the speed at which this information came out, you expect. But they have regular briefings, defense headquarters, so maybe this will be part of their agenda when journalists go.
What about to inspire confidence?
Yeah, we need it to be as quickly as possible. So let's see and wait if there will be a response. Then again, you don't even want to acknowledge them and give them more popularity. That's the flip side of it. Because yes,
so it's not about giving them popularity.
These guys it's reporting wrecking havoc. They're wrecking havoc. In as much as you want to belittle them, they're still wrecking havoc. I mean, see what they've done to Kwara. Kwara, very peaceful, a place where people would go to. Now it's inhabitable, especially some parts we hear. People are being kidnapped on the roads. We did see videos that were circulating online of people being killed in Kwara State. And then you wonder that, okay, it's a case of saying maybe we're belittling what they could do. But now they've come out with their full chest to say, listen, we're no longer in hiding.
It's about time you address it. Exactly.
So I'm expecting that the NSA, already they are burdened with a lot to deal with. You're dealing with the north, you're dealing with the southeast, you're dealing with the north central. So I think it's high time they used to be someone from the Nigerian army, the spokesperson who retired eventually. The guy used to wear the dark shades. I can't remember his name. At some point I've written down.
You still have
the press
director of defense information. They still have those regular press conferences, and defense correspondents go there every other day to hear the latest.
And you know what's sad? While we as a nation are dealing with the harsh effects of insecurity, where citizens can't guarantee that if they go to sleep, they'll wake up in their homes and they'll wake up at all, in certain parts of the country. Unfortunately, politics is politicking, and senators are throwing their rings behind their political parties. Governors are pledging allegiance to the center. The latest in terms of, this one is a slightly different one from what we typically see. What we've been seeing lately are governors and political leaders moving to the All Progressives Congress, stating that they are aligning with the center, moving typically from PDP to the APC. This time around, Senator Seriake Dickson, the former governor of Bayelsa State, has reaffirmed loyalty to the People's Democratic Party and has faulted the governor of Bayelsa State's defection, that's Douye Diri. Let's take a look at this video. We'll come back and share our thoughts.
The governor consulted me several times to his credit. And I was not convinced because I didn't see any compelling reason for a second-term governor to defect. We know the issues in the PDP, but issues are there to be solved by the governors and the leaders. Have they not been the leaders of the parties? A democracy without opposition ceases to be democracy. It becomes dictatorship from that day. Position does not mean you have to be fighting. You have to be, here am I, supporting the president's nomination. I know there are people who say a president who is partisan should not have that power, but that is not the law as it is. That is the law as it ought to be.
Well, who's in a better position to speak about this than someone who's been a two-term governor himself and a current senator? And I do have to agree with the former governor of Bayelsa State there, Senator Seriake Dickson, on the position, his reaction to the governor of Bayelsa State, Governor Diri, defecting to the ruling APC. He's a second-term governor. Maybe in the next 2 years, he's plugged into the central nervous system in Abuja, as they always say. Who knows what dividends that could bring to the good people of Bayelsa State. But, in his wisdom, he made the decision. He said, the crisis in the PDP, they're too much for me to deal with. So I better move to a more peaceful political party. But it would be nice to hear reactions from you guys.
Well, for me, it's basically saying that this is your second term. It means after you're done, you're done. So why are you moving? But there's one question everybody's not asking.
Why are you running?
There's one question everybody, people are not asking. What is making them move?
Well, what is
Aside
making them
from what
move?
we know in PDP, in this array, what is making everybody now?
I think it's the obvious
alignment.
Yes,
Which kind of
alignment of the center.
Is it your car? You want to balance the tire?
It's opportunism, because our politics is not run on ideology.
I agree.
It's run on opportunism, with people trying to align themselves with those. It's basically what we tease people about in Lagos, for example. Those that are doing social climbing, that they only hang out with certain people because they feel like you can elevate their status. So right now it looks like APC is, in your words, the latest bride.
Or Man City fans in football. Which day did what history does Man City have? And people that used to support Arsenal and Chelsea in the past, and I say I'm a Man City fan just because they're winning. Everybody, there's a propensity for people to join the winning team.
What does that do to democracy in
itself? It erodes our democracy. It leaves, because there won't be debate and challenges and opposition. When you have a viable opposition, it keeps the ruling party in check. They are on their toes. They know they have to deliver, because at the next polls, they will suffer. But if you have a situation where everybody's okay with it, then you'll be satisfied with mediocrity. There's no one is challenging you. So
that challenging part is where I have an issue with, because if we move to the point where everyone just aligns themselves with one party, what the implication of that is that the time will come when there'll be actions that will go unchallenged. When we talk about separation of powers, checks and balances, it's there for a reason. So that power is not concentrated in one source. It's not concentrated in one arm of government. It's not concentrated in one political party. Active opposition is a huge, important part of democracy, or maintaining our democracy. And the more we see people aligning with the center, the lesser the chances of us having people who will speak up against certain actions because you have to align with your political party. Again, There are constitutional provisions that should prevent you from getting into power with one political vehicle and on getting there leave.
But
when you leave, you should be able to.
It's not absolute. It says if there's a crisis in your party.
So that's the problem.
So they've used that
it's
crisis.
Vague. How do we determine what crisis is? Right? It's very vague. The interpretation and the enforcement of that is very vague, because it's what happened in Rivers State when all the 21 lawmakers jumped ship and did their resignation, said there was disarray in their party, only for them to later come back. If we do not resolve this, this will be the norm. It felt like all of those were just like test running to see the implication of that. Democracy. It really already is. But let's see what Nigerians are saying about that. There have been defections. There's the likes of Ben Bruce as well, who have also
common sense senator.
Defection, the common sense senator. If we have his tweets, let's share his tweets. You know that there have been many defections. There's Bayelsa Governor Douye Diri, Peter Mba, we talked about him yesterday. He's defected to the APC.
Umoyeno of many colors.
Akwa Ibom governor has defected.
Umoyeno also warned his people, if you don't move.
Yes, you know, and the Delta State governor as well, Sheriff Oboyeweri, defected weeks back. So every day we're seeing fresh defections.
I think he opened the floodgates for the South and Southeast defection.
And by now, in case you do not know as well, if you're watching us, 2/3 of the National Assembly is APC.
Oh, wow. So it's not just the governors.
No, even in the National Assembly, 2/3, which means that you barely have hanging fruits of other political parties.
Wow.
I mean, people like Ireti Kigbe.
Is there anyone?
Senator Ireti Kigbe, I wonder if she's going to move.
So out of 109 senators in the Senate, the 103 are members of the APC. No, 77.
73. And there's a statement that by next week, you have more that will move.
Wait, so the entire Southeast now, apart from Soludo?
Apart from Anambra, which is Abda.
Okay, Alex Oti.
There's also Alex Oti, who still remains with the Labour. Am I right? Yeah? And then you also have, pretty much.
And while you're thinking of Southeast, I'm also thinking of South-South. Because at the time we had everybody in, except there were just 2 states in the South-South that hadn't yet moved to the APC. One of them would be Rivers State. Rivers. Even though now
Rivers.
that Rivers State not having moved to the APC is a bit.
The form, are you sure the form?
Allegedly, APC clothing.
Allegedly, they say the form of the transfer window has been provided, and the player is ready to release his kit.
Yes, unveiling.
And he's unveiling.
Okay, let's see what Nigerians are saying
Before
about
we get to what Nigerians are saying, let's also, it's very important to stress that those that have not defected, that are still wearing the toga of their political parties, have openly, some of them, because we have some of those players that have openly endorsed Mr. President for 2027. One of them is Soludo. He has endorsed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And another one is the dancing governor in Osun State, Governor Jackson Adeleke.
Unfortunately,
Ademola Jackson.
I mean, these are the things we have.
Okay, I didn't know. Sorry.
Well, anyway, we have the speculations as well about the ones that will go next. We're not sure.
Taraba and Jos. And the Jos man, Governor Mutrang, said he's getting an application form to officially apply for the First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, to be his mother.
I saw that.
So that's another kind of, that's a family defection.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take, I think, one or two tweets. Let's take one or two, and then we'll have to move on. On X, that's massive. That's
complete it now.
That's massive, baby. It's true.
You didn't say baby. I don't know. You got yours.
I used to hear them say that.
You love it.
Governor Diri and 23 assembly members dumping the PDP isn't just defection. It's a political earthquake in Bayelsa. Is Tinubu gradually turning Nigeria into a one-party state? Because this pattern is starting to look all too familiar.
Yeah. All right. Let's see another one quickly. Bayelsa cruise merchant. Okay. Governor Douye Diri has no compelling reason to decamp to the APC. He's a second-term governor who can conveniently muscle his way into the Senate in 2027. I don't want to believe that it's because of money. This move is very unnecessary. That's what he says.
Must he go to the Senate? Is he a retirement home?
Exactly. Mike says, the PDP just lost 24 members in one day. At this rate, the party's membership drive should include a
how fast can you run test?
Ekun Khan says, some of you think a one-party country is a good thing, and having no opposition is good politics. Nigerians will learn the hard way by the time the new policies come, and there's nobody to defend them. Well, final one. Okwari Gift says, my main question is, what is the main reason why all the governors are decamping to the APC? Because I did the country. What in Tinubu they do when I know they see? I need explanations for the cross-carpeting to the ruling party.
Well, Gift, if you ask us now, who we go ask? And just to quickly wrap up with YouTube, Idris Onifade in response, and Mokwe Chukwemeka have dropped their comments as well. Idris Onifade says, Kemi is a typical Nigerian politician who does everything to remain in power, just like the decamping PDP governors. He's using one stone to...
If she hears that, she won't be
comment
happy.
on all these.
And I can only take one more. Mokwe Chukwemeka, how these terrorist groups emerge without the DSS knowing is alarming. It's sad. So please feel free to comment on these stories or anything on YouTube, and during the course of the show, we'll be picking your comments. Let's now share with you what our top stories are on Breakfast Central.
This morning on Breakfast Central, we will be x-raying the gale of defections. Governor Douye Diri dumps the PDP for APC. Concerns mount over wave of defection. People are really worried about our state of democracy, and business owners lament a demolition by the Federal Capital Development Authority. And of course, we'll look at securing Delta State, the Delta State Security Trust Fund. And don't forget our newspaper front pages. Feel free to call in and share your contributions. Breakfast Central continues shortly.
A letter penned by PDP chieftain Jude Imagwe to the party chairman has raised alarm bells over a wave of defections threatening the party's stability ahead of the 2027 elections. From elected governors to senators and House members, the exodus to the ruling APC is accelerating. Now, what's fueling this political hemorrhage, and what does it mean for the future of opposition politics in Nigeria? Joining us to unpack these concerns and tell us what he believes must change to save the PDP from implosion is the man behind that letter, former special advisor to President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan and member of the PDP, Comrade Jude Imagwe. Good morning, Comrade Imagwe. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, Olive, and thank you for having me.
The PDP has had quite a tumultuous year. So let's first of all start with what inspired you. I mean, from the beyond the very obvious, what made you write that letter, and did you genuinely believe that the letter will have any effect?
Well, again, thank you for having me today. And I think that any serious-minded party member would have a serious empathy for concern, because we can no longer pretend. And we cannot pretend in two folds. We cannot pretend that we are losing members daily. We have also weakness and cannot also pretend that we have a very serious management and leadership deficit. And to be silent at such a time is either going to be attributed to the fact that my years of comradeship should have been questioned, my exposure and my degree of critical analysis should have also been thrown into the bin, and I would therefore not have had any reason to be a party member. If I fold my hands without actually communicating to the persons that need to be communicated to, and then I would have termed myself as an onlooker, and an onlooker is either a coward or no, that is not certainly part of the life I've lived over years. We've had series of crises, very deepened crises, unchallenged, unattended to, not discussed, without any degree of seriousness from those whom constitutionally had been saddled with the responsibility to pilot the affairs of the party. And I'm tempted to liken PDP supporters to that of us, again, the supporters of Manchester United. I tend to then begin to think that the supporters of the PDP are even more serious than those they have entrusted the management of the party to. because I can still not reconcile why you as a chairman will be sitting on chair. People are leaving your party every other day. There are no conversations. There are no visitations to the states that are still remaining. There is nothing that suggests that you are making effort to even solve the problems on why they are leaving. There is nothing that also suggests that you are having a sense of thinking to say, what are the underlying reasons on why these people are leaving? What can we do? Every reasons have always been centered on internal party crisis and leadership conflicts. We still have that in my own state, Edo, where for the first time we are having two parallel ESCOs. This same NWC had not at any time made any effort to resolve it. Should we fold our hands and not to communicate with them? I always end my letters by saying, when tomorrow comes, so that I will not be tagged among those persons that kept quiet. I have expressed my feelings to them. I wrote letters to also those that are the actors in Edo. There is one of the letters I wrote. I said, a house built by one teacher is now being divided by two students. Late Chieftain Anene of blessed memory did everything to keep Edo PDP united, strong and one. Two of the contending factors today in Edo is being led by one Tony Azebeni that do not have any moral business or ethical capacity to have even been returned by this same NWC as state chairman of the party, following his abysmal failure from when he became chairman up until today. The other is being led by the national vice chairman South, Chieftain Ose Obi, who also has committed so much time for the sustenance, the building, and the growth of PDP in Edo State. Just two persons from one house fighting and dividing the party. I've told them also my own peace of mind. If they take it, fine. If they do not take it, it is their business. My conscience is clear because I've communicated my position to them. I've also suggested to them the steps that can be taken so that this issue can be solved. It is their turn as leadership. If they fail, it will be written against them in history that when they piloted the affairs of PDP, PDP disintegrated from something to zero.
Now, Comrade Imagwe, looking at the incident, the gale of defections we witnessed in Bayelsa State yesterday, how much of it is a PDP problem? How much blame would you apportion at the footstep of the PDP, or would you say the APC has a more attractive proposition, and you really don't blame those who defected for leaving?
I would have said I do not blame those who defected for want of reason. First, I will say because if we were actually operating a democratic setting where the votes of citizens count, where people can go to the polling units, and at the end of the day, it's a suggestive reflection of what they had actually casted on the ballot, then I would have said they have a right, as enshrined in the Constitution, to teleport, catapult, and move from where they are to any place of their choice. It's a right of theirs. The Constitution has given them that leeway, and they have a right to exercise it or not to exercise it. That is on one side of it. But on the other part of it is, there are some persons that leave a party, you will begin to struggle to reconcile what are the reasons why they had left. Governor Diri is a second-term governor. It means by all definition, he's completing his 8 years mandate. Yes, there are reflections that he got the support of the government at the center to have successfully prosecuted his return in his second-term bid. But again, what is he looking for? Now, it takes us back to the fact that I have maintained this thing from beginning, that politics about some of these our leaders are personal. They always put their personal interests first over and above the interests of the generality of the people that they intend to govern and lead. If a governor that enjoys the mandate of a people go to sleep at night, wake up in the next of the morning and say to himself that this mandate on this platform to which I have gotten it, I am tired of it. I want to move to another platform. And he does that freely without any reflection of how the people that have casted this vote for them ab initio will feel. It takes it back to the fact that it's personal. It is either they are hiding for something or they are pursuing something that the people are not truly aware of. These things are not far from the fact that today, where is the governor of Edo State, the former governor of Edo State, since after he abandoned us and abandoned the party, destroyed, disseminated the party to zero level, he has absconded after handing over. In fact, he was not there during his handing over ceremony. He left 2 nights before the completion of his tenure. That is how it is. Now, if they cannot negotiate their exit, they go on sabbatical or they go on self-exile, imposing on themselves. Meaning, if you know you are supposed to do what is right from beginning, haven't been entrusted with mandate, why do you then do the wrong thing that makes you jittery, that creates this degree of insecurity close to the expiration of your tenure, and you begin to look for how to negotiate with the government in power if your government is not the one at the center, to by way of either catapulting or teleporting yourself and saying that you create reasons. These are reasons that have always been there. Party internal crisis is a pattern. It's a pattern they have adopted, and they are following it. And unfortunately, the citizens and the supporters have nothing to say because, again, the system cannot also throw itself in a way that we will vote and our vote will be a total reflection of what we have casted. Otherwise, a governor leaving a party would not have suggested anything different from what the ballot would have returned into. Reasons that it will not be the governor that people will be judging. People will be judging the dividend that that government has created during their time under review. What has the government done to impact the lives of people in education, in health, in agriculture, in social welfare, or in human capital development? What are these things? What policies have the government placed on ground that will not put burden on our mothers and fathers that go to farm and those that go to market, or young people that even run their own private businesses to contribute to the IGR of the state? All these things are things that in a sane society, people would have questioned. And it was the basis of that people would have gone to the ballot. But when votes don't count, when the system have made it a way that you go to the polling unit, you spend all the time you waste there, and at the end of the day, somebody sits in the comfort of an office and say, for technical glitches, I cannot announce what is this, and I will give you what is different. So,
all right, Mr. Imagwe, it seems there's a lot that you have held inside, and your letter shows that you've also written a rebuilding process, and you said what must be done, a 180-day rescue plan. So you detailed a rescue plan for the PDP. Part of it, which I will just quickly read out: rebuild internal democracy, rekindle the reconciliation process, reclaim public confidence, and one of it is reposition for the future. Do you think that the current PDP chairman has the powers to carry all of these things out, these suggestions? Because it's also been a tough situation for him where he's battled his way. Remember, it wasn't agreed that he should be chairman. There was a back and forth situation, and now he's chairman. And with all of this you've put together in the letter, how do you think he's able to carry them out, especially seeing the defection that's going on?
And thank you for that question. I do not think, as it stands just now, that same national chairman, Ambassador Damagu, Ilya Damagu, has what it takes to actually implement 1/3 of the suggestion I have placed before him. The problem is clear. The fact is, no matter how you try to do everything you want to do, if you lost public trust, public sympathy, and public understanding, you have a problem. And having this thing lost is your gap between yourself and the citizen. And what usually creates this gap is modes of communication. The national chairman, as an individual, should not be the only one that should address that issue. It's an issue that should be discussed by the NWC and the NEC, which therefore comprises of our internal working mechanism and the organs of the party. The NWC, the NEC, which includes our governors, the BOTs, and former governors and members of the National Assembly and principal officers of state houses of assembly, and so. But in an instance where it's ordinarily supposed to be the duty of the leadership, that is where the Damagu has a serious problem. The leadership should initiate ideas, should be concerned about what is happening, should be the one that will lead to say, please, can we sit and reason together? I will give you an instance. You remember sometimes on this your platform, I had said, I do not understand why a party like PDP will sit down, intend to fight a democratically elected just to please a consensus from a region that is adopted out of convention, but for convenience. That is in the instance of the case of the when we had Brouhaha with the office of the National Secretary. For the entire period of time that the democratically elected National Secretary, Senator Sam Anyanwu, was thrown around back and front, back and front. I didn't hear him one day insult the party. I only knew what he did was to follow within the law to see how he could claim his mandate. And also, he wasn't the first person that was guilty of why they were trying to throw him away, contesting an election and coming back to occupy your seat. It happens in the National Assembly too. But the man in whose case pushed the party into this situation for close to a year, our former national youth leader, former honorable in Enugu State, Udo Okoye, young man, vibrant person who were hoping to also be part of those that will champion the future of the party, joined his governor, Peter Mba, some days ago, and left the party. And what was he saying on your sister station? He said PDP had been buried, they have cemented it, they are looking for flowers to put on it. So when a system sits down and refuses to do what is right, people take advantage of it. As painful as it is that we are almost thinking towards one-party states, which is unethical, undemocratic, and is not healthy for growth of a democratic environment, as developed as the developed world is, you do not see an incumbent struggle to muzzle everybody to come into one room. No. People must have the freedom to criticize the activity of a government. And that is the only reason why the government will be put in check. If a government feels that its duty is to silence everybody so that people will not talk, they must understand the fact that in such practice, they are raising people that will not be silenced, people that will not be bullied, and people that will continue to talk. That will raise to civil unrest. There was a yesterday where we had in the north, we had AMPP and CPC. We had in the southwest, AD. We had in the south-south and the southeast, with the exception of Anambra that have always remained on ABGA. We had PDP. In the north central, was splitted across the Kwara goes some part. At all times, Kwara had always remained PDP. But it was PDP, almost in the central. In the far northwest and the far northeast, we had CPC and AMPP, and in the down called southwest, we had the AD control. There was robust conversation about ethical conduct of party. There was this sense of democratic dividend. People must drive the system for their party to be known for what their party is and not what one individual does with executive rascality. But today, where are we? Under the watch of this very Damagu, in the complete southeast today, there is no longer PDP. The only PDP that was standing, the last man standing in the southeast, had left us. So there is a serious encroachment of APC now in southeast, 3 APC, 1 Labour, 1 ABGA. And the ABGA, you already know where the ABGA stands. The ABGA has said it's an ABGA in the morning, but he's supporting the president in the broad daylight. So that is where the ABGA stands. We're only waiting for where the ABGA will tell us where he's standing too. Maybe the Abia too will tell us to, because see, all this thing is for them to secure, to passively secure their next tenure. And for those that are living already, they are either looking for ways to catapult themselves to Senate, which I do not ask. I still want to reconcile. We have, is National Assembly now the retirement headquarters for our governors? Is it that they do not practice any other trade? There is no other skills they can transfer outside going to sit in the National Assembly. I think the next thing that some of us researchers will need to begin to do is to now sit down and beam our searchlight in the National Assembly to see truly what impact, what relevance, as regard policy direction and suggestion, the group of these former governors that have retired to that place are actually doing there. That is another research thing that somebody needs to do. Because I cannot understand why they have turned that place to a retirement center.
Now, Comrade
So some
Imagwe,
of them, they want to either retire to that place to negotiate their exit into the National Assembly, or they have skeletons that they don't want their wardrobe to be opened. Because if you open, something will happen. And if that thing happens, you know these people, they
Comrade, if I may come in at this point, you've raised a very pertinent point, and organizations like SERAP have taken up some of these governors that retire to the National Assembly, saying, look, you can't take pensions and still be serving as a senator. And there are many other issues like you've raised, and there are other ways they can be useful, that the Senate is not a retirement home for former governors. Having said that, looking at the state of PDP today, I can imagine how you must have felt yesterday watching the images. And like you rightly said, in the entire Southeast, the Southeast used to be a stronghold of the PDP, and it's now being decimated. All governors have defected to the APC, even the ones, you mentioned APGA. APGA, Governor Soludo, has declared his support for the current president. So where does that leave your morale? And are you confident that something can be done? Even if you follow, if the chairman follows your letter to the letter and implements every suggestion that you've written, I really don't, it has metamorphosized beyond just a crisis in the PDP. It's a personality thing now. It's what you stand for. It's principles. So how do you begin to correct that? Or how can you work on people's principles so that they see the bigger picture and not just defect for pecuniary reasons and, you know, what they want to eat and short-term benefits?
Menga, you see, you cannot place something on nothing and expect it to stand. The first thing, some weeks ago, I was on your station and you asked if I would be honest to advise my principal to contest an election. What will I say? And I said, on a personal ground and on a selfish ground. I told you then, I said, on a personal ground, I would say he shouldn't contest because there's nothing that suggests there's an opposition party. And truly, it still stands. There's nothing that suggests that there is an opposition party as it is just now. The vision behind what I have written, if I was to execute them as a national chairman, is the fact that I will be honest. First, where have we gotten things wrong? Internal democracy. What has our party reward system been? Who are the people that we hand our tickets to? What is truly the problem? Is the problem that of honesty, sincerity, and transparency, or is the problem of greed, personal benefits, and individual political ambition? We'll marry all these things on the table and ask ourselves, where were we yesterday? PDP was in charge of the country yesterday with almost 24, 25, 27 states. Today, how many have we reduced to? We are struggling to even have 4. Struggling to have 4 because some will still go. There's still an exodus that will still happen. Some that have not even gone, they are not even with us. It's like when you watch Tom and Jerry. You see Jerry running and Tom seeing Jerry, and the body will leave. The spirit will leave and be running away, but the body is still there. That is how we still have some of our governors. The spirit have all gone. They're just standing there ceremoniously. Now, how do we get out of this thing? is to come back to the table and reason like Amos 3:3 say, can two work together except they agree? What is our challenges? We have been wicked. We have not been honest with ourselves, particularly this new, not National Working Committee. I call them National Working Committee. They are workers. All they just look out for is the person that can be the highest bidder. They begin to sing like canary, like parrots, and supporting them. They throw every ethical behavior away and follow money. That is our problem. The second thing is, when we are moving into convention, do we again allocate positions to people that want to be office bearers, to leaders of respective states, and let those leaders choose from their lined queues of boys and say, okay, you have served me enough, come and become national youth leader. You have served me enough, come and become national publicity secretary. You have been so very loyal, you'll be giving me returns, come and become national organizing secretary, come and become this, come and become that. That is what they have reduced it to. We must run away from that. We must also ask ourselves, why do we have problems? We have had problems because people are aggrieved. Yes, even in the house of one family, there are challenges, there are problems. And that problem is usually two twins still have differences. They were carried from in one home for 9 months. They come out almost at the same day, just with seconds interval. They still have differences that they don't understand. Sometimes they don't agree. But do that separate them from being twin? No, they still come back. They have a meeting point. That is the meeting point we are requesting. Let the party come back to the table and say, look, on the issue of presidential election, as it stands today, we are obviously not certain that we are prepared. But can we be futuristic to say, after the next 4 years cycle of election, we will come out strong? So what should we do as a party? Begin to consolidate on the states we already have and look for a leeway into states we don't have, because there are a lot of things that are still missing in these states. Raise persons with strong characters that will be able to contest elections and win. So it means that when we reconcile, we should start first by winning back states, increasing and populating our members in the National Assembly and state houses of assembly. That begins to prepare us back. If you go to Enugu, for instance, Governor Peter Omba, whom for my own assessment and from the assessment of so many other persons that are close to me that I've also had interactions with, the governor was actually doing well. Why would he have left PDP for APC? It's a question that he alone can answer. But if we want to do comparison analysis, can we say that there are presence of federal projects in the state? I still do not suggest that there is any. In the future and in the time past, is Enugu State being domiciled by federal project? The answer is no. So why would he have left? It still comes back to the fact that the party, when you as a chairman sit down and hear that people are planning to leave, have you taken that first step to approach, my brother, please, what is your problem? Why do you want to leave? What are the grievances? Name your price. Put it on the table. The things that we can concede to you, we concede it. The things we cannot concede, we'll tell you for this reason we cannot concede. There is no time that you go to a table of negotiation that you win all. And you must not be going to a table of negotiation believing that if it doesn't go your way, you will not go, or you will not compromise. No, for any reason that has to do with negotiation, people must shift ground. Shift ground to the point that at the end of the day, it becomes the benefit of all, not an individual. Now, so where the party is where we should sit down, like I've stated in that letter, tell ourselves the bitter truth, go back to our drawing board, begin to reconsider our relationship with the Nigerian people, right, discuss with them, tell them where the problems is, tell them what we intend to do that will be different, not longer in the federal, in the state, in the National Assembly, and look at the characters we send to those places to represent us.
All right, Mr. Imagwe, because of our time, we'd just like you to answer the next few questions. I mean, if you could be very brief with them so that we can cover a lot of ground. Just yesterday, while the defection was ongoing, I'm sure you're also aware that Senator Ben Murray-Bruce has also joined the fold in leaving the all-important PDP that gave him the platform to the APC. But in reaction to the movement, this is what the FCT minister said. He said, I've been watching on daily television and social media people who said, I want to destabilize the PDP and that I'm working for the APC, all of them are now in the APC. They should commend me, not me. I mean, the FCT minister. They should commend me for working for where they are heading to. End of quote. That's what former governor of Rivers State, now the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, said. What do you make out of this? I mean, it's much more like he's having the last laugh now.
It's not about having the last laugh. It's the fact that the FCT minister since after the democratic rascality that was demonstrated by the leadership of PDP in our presidential convention of the 2023, he has not hidden his anger. He has not for once also pretended that he's not going to fight the party. To the extent at which he has done that even the two people that were beneficiary of that primaries are today no longer members of the PDP. The former vice presidential candidate, who was also the immediate past governor of Delta State, has clearly stated that he's in APC. He went alongside with Governor Deta, Governor Sharif. But the former presidential flag bearer, the former vice president of Nigeria, had left the PDP, but as he suggests today, we still have not known if he is fully a member of ADC or he's on sabbatical and on transit, yet to decide where he wants to go to. Now, for his own part, he has stated it clearly. But whether his leadership is actually of any beneficial effect to the party is to the extent at which the party has actually dealt with it from beginning. This former governor of Rivers State, then present FCT minister, I have said clearly that I will not for any reason attack his person or attack any reason why he's acting, because I'm a witness to the commitment Governor Wike, FCT minister, made to the revival and the survival of PDP. The question I always ask is, where were his other governors when he alone piloted the entire affairs of the party onto the stage where he decides who becomes the national chairman, ranging from the removal of Sharif to the caretaker of the former governor of Ahmed of Kaduna State, to the return of Secondus, subsequently to the removal of Secondus, to the return of one of the greatest political disaster we ever had as a national chairman, Yacha Ayu, who for personal reasons could not even make sacrifice for his friend. That is the worst thing that can happen to anybody politically. To the present abysmal dismal that we now have as national chairman, Damagu, he has played all this role. And to sit, I tell people that if you feel the house is to be destroyed and to be built later, to what extent are you sure that the carcass can ever come back to stand strong? So we must tread with caution. I feel clearly that, yes, he has expressed the fact that he's in APC. He's not in APC, he's still in PDP, as the last time I checked, but he's working for an APC government, and everybody is running to the APC. It should be a self-reflection for those people running to the APC to say, this is where this man is, and I'm running to go and meet him there. How do I cope with that environment? But I'll tell you one thing so that I can reduce this conversation. APC is beginning again to gather the people that had left PDP. The same way we had them all in PDP that exploded into a robust bust that is now creating the crisis we're having. They are going to harness themselves there. You see, they are not going to ADC. They are not going to Labour. They are not going to AA. They are not going to YPP. They are looking for a party that is already cooked, prepared to be baked. And you think that there are no people that have also invested their times, their commitment, and APC also do not have a reward system like you people have created in PDP? We are waiting, we are folding our hands, we are watching. Because some of them will still go to primaries. The only person that can confidently say today that his seat is secured is the president. Every other person that is jumping around, jumping like canary and pigeon, they will go to the primaries because the party you are running into, people have invested. People have positioned themselves. Like in Delta, somebody contested and lost and is hoping and preparing that he was going to go back. And you now have gone, because immediately a governor crosses, the governor becomes the leader.
Right.
In whatever nomenclature you give it, the governor, because it is the governor the president relates with directly. Those persons will be looking at you. PDP party is one place that betrayal cannot be questioned. Party activities, do not take it very serious with some persons. There are people that have zero conscience, zero principle, and zero ideology. I have seen it all. They will tell you one thing in the morning, don't go and sleep. Keep your eyes. The scripture say, watch and pray. It is party affiliation, they are party politics they are talking about. Watch and pray. Your name can be on the list from Abuja, from Benin. By Lokoja, it will change.
All right.
When you get to Abuja, it will change. Before you get to Abuja, it will sometimes, and the place of the last signature, it will still change. And they'll tell you go to court. So, my brother, where we are today is they have crossed. Nobody said they don't have a right to cross. But that place, they have all gone together. We wish them well. I said, it is most likely that their exit from the party will give some of us that will stay back in the party a sense of reflection and an opportunity to assert leadership and begin to challenge, pilot the party to a place where Nigerians will see it as an alternative.
The rest of you who are left in the party have had a long time for reflection. So right now, what is required from the PDP is action. If it's going to be ready for 2027, it needs to put in the work now. And we need to see the work, being made manifest.
No, there are some people that still needs to go before we can take any action. No?
Sorry?
This national chairman, this national working committee,
yes,
led by this Damagu, if they don't go, there is nothing that can be done. As it is today, we have a non-existent national working committee. All they do there is just to sit down, allocate resources to themselves and share. It's only a few of them that are committed to the party. So with this kind of leadership, if they don't go, there is no cleansing that can take place. Only there is nothing.
Okay.
They have to go. See, we have to make Nigerians know that we are serious by telling those people, please, if you love the party, go.
All right. Thank you very much, Comrade Jude Imagwe, for joining us this morning. Hopefully we won't, I can't say hopefully because it feels like every time we speak with you, there have been some fresh defections in the week before.
We also have to commend you for being brave enough to air some of your very strong opinions. Hopefully, the National Working Committee would not penalize you for sharing your
they don't have that capacity to people they don't have that capacity to penalize. How can people that are not ethically clean penalize somebody that is just and fair? They don't have that capacity. Let them try it. Let us go to the market naked and begin to discuss. There are some dances who call the surugede. We will dance it and let's see who will stay long in the field to dance.
Okay. Thankfully, hopefully you will not need to dance the surugede.
Tomorrow is Friday, by the way. I hope to dance it in the nightclub.
Please be careful.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time. May God continue to bless us all.
Okay, let's now move away from here before Benga gets tempted to think that today is Friday and start to dance the dance of Surugede. Let's share with you what's coming up next. Coming up next on Breakfast Central, INEC meets CSOs and media executives. Governor Douye Diri dumps PDP like he's throwing tissue in the trash. Business owners lament demolition of FCDA. We'll be heading to the federal capital to bring you that update.
Welcome back. Business owners within some parks and gardens in the Maitama district of the Federal Capital Territory are counting their losses after the team from the FCDA demolished their structures. The victims who are insisting that they were not notified before the exercise say there is a pending court case that should have ensured the status quo of the situation following the decision of the FCT authorities to revoke lease agreements of some parks and gardens. Now, the mothers of two of the business owners and an investor who are in obvious shock are asking the authorities to abide by the law and follow due process.
Attempts to get the response for FCDA have so far, or to get responses from FCDA, have so far been unsuccessful. This is, of course, a developing story, and News Central will keep you updated. But let's take a look at the video, and when we come back, we'll come to speak with some of the affected parties.
Yeah. Brick by brick, we built this place from sand filling. At the point we had erosion problem. We got big stones to serve as an embankment to stop the place from eroding. This year we've got wind that there's a letter for revocation served on all green areas. And when we asked, they said that because some areas or some green areas are violating the lease agreements that they entered in. Some of them are not, have their legal papers, and that it's not a revocation per se, but that we should come through a process where we go through a vetting process and an arrow of O will be issued, and that gives us, better legal grounds to stay here. And so we approached this place. Meanwhile, we've been paying all our ground rents, our statutory fees. We have our ground rent payments. Every day, AMAC is coming here to collect one money or the other for radio license, legal license, operation license. In fact, earlier this year, I don't even know if it's Niwa, the ones in charge of waterway, they came here and said, oh, we are beside the waterway, and as such, we should pay for that. Where we are occupying is on top of a bridge, but inside, you have a little piece of land. It was originally 7,000 square meters. But they've been seizing and taking, and what we are currently occupying is just 2,000 square meters, and we have succeeded in developing it. We have a paint and see. We have Abuja here, we have our salsa night, we have our restaurants, and we come together, we put resources together, and at the end of the year, we share the interest and the profit of it. We have our building plan that has been submitted to development control. We have our sublease agreement, we have our letter of intent, and all other supporting documents, including our evidence of ground rent payments.
Sorry.
Very sad situation, but so far so good. This developing story has not left the eyes of News Central, and on Breakfast Central we have joining us the affected parties, the business owners, investors who have gathered themselves this morning to speak to us from the Federal Capital Territory. I have Jennifer Ume, who is live with us, and the rest of our team. Good morning to you, Jennifer.
Good morning.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for giving us an opportunity to state our story.
All right. So
state the truth.
Go ahead. Let's give you the floor. Go ahead, please.
So thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to speak the truth and put the true situation out there before we are overshadowed. We're a group of women who came together, and this place is originally designated to be a green area. We got our first allocation in 2002, and then a re-verification process was done, and in 2007, we got our letter of intent. We are in the master plan. If you go to Aegis, you will see that this area was a green area. We have paid all our ground rent, we pay our statutory fees. Yesterday was a very sad day for us, an extremely sad day. We as women came together, we're 5 in number, from different tribes, from different religion. We came together and we built this place. We planted the trees here by our hands, with our bare hands. We built this place one hut after the other. To be honest, it's so difficult to survive in this country or to depend on one source of income. And then we come together and we build this place. We were notified earlier this year by pasting that all green areas have been revoked and that we should come through a vetting process. We quickly filed for the vetting process. While we were carrying out, investigations and following our file, we realized that this same place that we have legitimately occupied for 14 years and developed had been reallocated behind our backs to a company named Abuja City Works Company Limited, a subsidiary of MAG International Company Limited. This company was incorporated in June of this year, 2025, and an allocation given to them on the 30th of July, long before we were served our letter of revocation. We quickly gathered ourselves and our resources and engaged the services of a lawyer, and we filed our processes and served all necessary parties. We have not defaulted. We have not flaunted any laws. We have paid all statutory bills. We are law-abiding citizens. We have created jobs for ourselves and in turn empowered other youths. From this place, we have gotten graduates. We have taken care of scholarships for some people who could not afford it for their kids. We have empowered young boys, women, the elderly. We formed a community here. We formed a home, and they came without recourse to the economic hardship that their decision would take. Without a soul, they cut down the trees. They broke down everything we have invested. We are right here in the garden. It borders a natural flood drain. Every year, we do embankments to stop this very place from eroding. If we were not here, there would be nothing for them to take. We are literally on a bridge. People come in here for salsa nights, for paint as if our events are family oriented. The same, they told us, look at our letter of intent. It's for parks. Look at it. Outdoor events and recreation. Outdoor events, this is the letter of intent. This was the first one issued in 2002. As an investor, I looked through all of this before putting my hard and sweat, my hands, my energy. Women that they said they will empower. This is our lease agreement signed in 2007 by Abuja Metropolitan Management Agency. A 30 years lease agreement. We've occupied here for only about 15 years. We still have time. We've gone to court. Let's seek legal redress. Let's test the law. And they have been served, and yet they had no respect for the rule of law. The Abuja City Work Company Limited has entered earlier this year, entered into an MOU with FCDA. The minister, Honorable Nelson Wike, had a press briefing, and they said they wanted to replicate the Dubai City Work and in turn empower and create jobs. But the same shell company incorporated this year is the same company used to take our livelihoods. It's a 2,000 square meter. Are they recreating Dubai City Works here? Did they even think of the consequences of their action? I honestly do not believe that the Honorable Minister, Nelson Wike, is aware of this. I honestly believe he was misled. He has a woman at home that has attained the peak of her career. He has kids. He has a daughter. I call on our First Lady, Honorable Remi Tinubu. She's a mother. She says she wants us to have green hands. Mommy, we have green hands, and they've killed our babies. They've taken our babies. They've taken our babies from us.
Jennifer,
Babies.
Jennifer, I'm really sorry to. Honestly, I don't have the right words to say, but it really breaks our heart to hear you say your story and to see the people who have been affected. Jennifer, if you can hear me, Jennifer, it's really sad to hear you share your story in this way. Very emotional, very sad. But we applaud you for the boldness to speak about this issue, to speak and defend what you believe in, and to fight for your rights. We're going to break, and when we come back, we'll continue this conversation with you, so please stay with us. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. We're still speaking with Jennifer Ume about the demolitions that happened in the FCDA. Once again, we really extend our, heartfelt apologies. Or I don't know what to say at this point because it's been a very sad story to hear you detail. Jennifer, I don't know what justice will look like for you now and for the people who have been affected by this, for the other 4 women who have thrown their resources into this, for the number, maybe first of all, give us a picture, if you can, of the people who have been indirectly impacted by this or directly impacted by this in terms of job opportunities, people who were working there before this demolition happened. So give us that picture and then tell us what justice will look like for you.
We have about 68 staffs. 68. We've treated them well. And yesterday they showed solidarity. They were with us, graduates. Some of them have graduated from this place. They started as bartenders. Some of them started as servers. And today we can, hit our chest and say, oh, Julius is now a graduate. Some of them depend on this, this place to take care of their families. Some of them are, the breadwinners of their families. And then we have people who, women who come and do small supplies, catfish, meat, mineral. We have a malam that's been here for 10 years. Even when the place was growing, we reserved that spot for him. He's just, Mesuya. He was weeping yesterday. That guy has his brothers and him. They have this small place where they stay. We have the Abuja Ram City. We have the famous Paint and Sip in this location. We have El Sabo Breakfast in this location. We have Emeka Salsa in this location. These are popular events that we try to create to keep this place afloat. It's so sad that we were not gunned down or run out. We didn't run out of business because we couldn't keep surviving or we didn't have ideas. So many businesses are crashing. They can't stay afloat, but we keep finding ways to make this place, serve its purpose. We keep finding ways, but today we literally have been bullied out of this place. This is murder. Our staffs are behind me. Some of them are behind me. Some of them are still here. They slept in this place under the rain. I was so moved. We are the bridge between the very wealthy and the very poor. Where is the middle class? What makes them more Nigerian than us? What about the whole essence of, come in here, invest, empower the women? We have legitimately tried to make a livelihood for ourselves as women, as Nigerians, as youths. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because one man's interest supersedes that of the rest of us because he has money. I don't understand. I doubt that. I want to believe that the Honorable Minister was misled. He could not have done this.
Okay.
Maybe he didn't know.
Jennifer.
Maybe he didn't know.
Jennifer, what will justice look like for you, for the Mesuya, for all the people who have their businesses there?
I want the Honorable Minister to carry out proper investigations into how this place was allocated. I want the parties, all interested parties who have been duly served, to maintain status quo pending the determination of the courts. I do not want us to be further bullied. I want us to be compensated for the damages they have caused on us and the people who have worked with us and by us and beside us. They should leave us alone to do our business in peace. They should leave us alone to do our business in peace. We are just trying to survive.
All right.
We are just trying to survive.
These are fair asks, Jennifer, but just to, reconfirm with you, the demolition that happened yesterday, did you get a notice that the demolition was about to happen?
Okay. In all honesty, they came in on, I think on the 7th of this month.
October.
And then they just wrote, leave immediately. Within 24 hours, was pasted on, displayed it on our wall. That's barely a week ago. And we were confident that since the matter is already in court, we could slowly take our things pending the determination of, of the case in court. 24 hours to leave immediately for a business that has been in operation for 14 years.
Yeah.
And what's the status of the court case? I know you say you've taken them to court. Has the matter been heard at all? What's the status? It seems we're having an issue with the network. We're hoping that that can be resolved and we can conclude this conversation. But Joan Gbenga,
I mean, I'm at a loss for words. It's very emotionally charged. I can only imagine being in their shoes. You've invested so much in a business for 14 years, and to see it lose, and to just watch them take everything from you, it will be very tough on anyone. I mean, we complain about youth unemployment, youth restiveness, and these are young Nigerians that have come together to make sense of that space. They've created a whole community, a vibrant community. They've employed people. People have been able to send their wards to university from proceeds of this business. And to see it all crashing in one day. And on one hand, you hear the government saying we support the youth, we want SMEs to thrive and all of that. And to see them do this is it's a gross miscarriage of justice. Even if you want to reallocate the land, there are proper ways to go about it in a very humane way, not just give a 24-hour notice and then, and the backhanded way of revoking land titles and all of that. It's terrible. Hopefully we'll get a clearer picture from the FCDA that will tell their own side of the story. But so far, so good. All efforts to reach the FCDA for comments on this has proved abortive.
Absolutely. And we hope that in the course of the week, hopefully maybe tomorrow, we should be able to try as much as possible to see if we can reach out to them.
I really do want to know where the case has gotten to.
Yeah,
right? If they've taken it to court and you're expecting that every party, right, or the affected parties, that the status quo will remain pending the court determination. Has the matter been heard? They were served, have they made an appearance in court? I would really have loved to know how far the case has gotten to.
You see, as a country, whether you like it or not, there's this statement that has been used by almost everyone. And it's starting to look like it is going to be the theme for every Nigerian. And that statement is one that I would say here for everyone who knows it. It says, last, it go touch everybody. And it's looking that way. Why do I say this? It's because, one, we're now looking like a country that does not respect the rule of law. The rule of law comes with accountability. It also comes with equality. It comes with equality. It doesn't matter who ox is gone.
You have to
doesn't
obey.
Matter if everybody must obey. But what we're starting to see now is a situation where the court has given, you've gone to court. Wait for the court to finish now. Let them finish the process. Let them look into the case. But it seems like there's always somebody who feels that the rule of law, exactly, the rule of law is going to stop me. I need to move quickly. You know what? You lawyers or justice, do what you have to do, but I have to move on and do what I have to do.
And damn the consequences.
And damn the consequences. And that's where the rule of law also does not allow for supremacy. Nobody is bigger than what the Constitution
Everyone
has
is
put in
equal
place.
before the law. That's why justice is blind.
You understand? And that's why justice is blind, because it doesn't bat an eye or an eyelid to somebody who has more money. But now you ask yourself, look at this young lady. Dirty December is around the corner, Gbenga. I mean, hospitality is one aspect I love so much. And whether you like it or not, this pain that comes from this lady is that there must have been a trench of investment, especially from 2 months ago, in preparation for what Dirty December will hold for them, starting from this particular month at the end of October, where you see an influx of people coming into the Federal Capital Territory looking for comfortable areas. It's a green area, she said, although I still want to ask her if in any way they encroached along the canal. But there's another video that shows also a lady who has a vested interest in this business. She was screaming that, look, this canal has been here for years, But in quotes, she alleged that the FCT minister had sold that area to a close associate who is now building near the canal area as well. And you can see structures are being raised, and that this doesn't work while they are the other side running away. So there's a lot going on. And all of this trickles down to just one fact. When we don't uphold the rule of law, this is what happens. You have totalitarians, you have people who will just wake up in the morning and say, listen, I want to take charge, I'm the owner, I can do as I please. And that's what's happening.
It's really sad. I can imagine the psychological torture and trauma that these young Nigerians have to go through. It's really unfortunate. Let's hope justice is served and they are adequately compensated for their loss. They shouldn't despair. You have life, and I mean, you can always pick up and rebuild again. So my advice to them is to stay positive and hope for the best.
Years.
It's very tough. It's very tough.
14 years, you must have gotten in 14 years, your investment for a business like this you wouldn't have broken even. You wouldn't break even. Maybe up until your 6th year. That's when you start seeing profits. And like she did say in the first video we put out, they don't take their interest or their profits yet until the end of the year. This simply means that they may share it in terms of percentage monthly. And man, that's sad. That's really very, sad. Very sad.
All right, I think we have Jennifer here. Jennifer, sorry, it seems there was an issue with the network. We're about to wrap up the conversation, but I'd like to know where the state of the case is. I know you said you are taking them to court, and you hope that there'll be due process. What's the latest on the court case?
So we reached out to our lawyers when this happened yesterday, and then they said they were going to try and file, additional, processes. I wouldn't want to state the obvious before they do what they usually do. Okay. But the next adjourned date is in November. On the 6th of November, we'll be appearing before the High Court, and they are aware of this. I don't know.
Sorry, Jennifer. Sorry to butt in.
What came in?
Sorry, Jennifer. Just to quickly ask, did your business in any way encroach on the canal? Did you in any way?
No, not in any way. Like I'm right on this place. Can I walk towards
the canal? Please
and...
feel free to do that. Feel free, okay. Please, if you can.
Please let me do that now. No, let me go to this back. Please.
You might as well flip the camera while you're on that.
Come.
That's the canal.
It does not.
Can you see to the left? Someone is building.
You even wonder what they want to use this place for, because the width of the green area is so shallow. Like, look at the big stones. Let me turn.
Please, you can turn the cameras. Yeah.
This is it. Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
This is it. These big stones you see here were put by us. It starts all the way. I can go to the entrance, and then you see the bridge. We're on a bridge beside the canal, and sometimes we have to purify this canal. All these rocks, all these big embankments. This is the retaining wall that started earlier this year by our neighbor. And somehow they think they want to take over this place. This is the destruction. This is the trees. Look at the trees they cut. They cut down all of this. If you permit me to go to the entrance.
Go ahead, just flip your camera. Yeah, just flip your camera to show the front.
If you can, yes, flip the screen.
Yeah, just flip.
All right. While we're waiting for Jennifer to get to the entrance and give us a real-time view again, for those just tuning in, we're looking at the parks and the gardens that have unfortunately, according to the reports by Jennifer Ume, who's an investor and an affected party, it's been demolished by the FCDA. She says they were not given sufficient notice, and she claims that they have the right to, occupy that property, and that they got a 30-year lease and have barely used 15 years on the property before the demolition occurred. What you're watching right now is a live view of the demolition that occurred yesterday. Businesses, individuals who previously occupied these premises have now been rendered homeless, as they have no place to continue their businesses. And, I gather that there's some of those who even live there. They're according to Jennifer, their staff strength is 68. There are people who have graduated there, and these people have now been left to fend for themselves, weeping and just crying about the unfortunate reality of what it is to run a business in Nigeria, that there isn't any guarantee of certainty. You can wake up one day and everything that you've worked for, it's not even funny how it's
I mean, and also we always have a way of screaming one foreign direct investment. I mean, look at this. It would affect investor confidence that you bring in a business, you appeal to the diaspora. Every opportunity Mr. President gets when he's outside the country is always appealing to the diaspora to come home to such uncertainty.
All right. So, Jennifer, I believe that this is the gate, the entrance.
This is the gate.
Yes.
This is the entrance.
Okay.
And you can see that this is where the bridge begins, just by our gate.
Okay.
Just by our gate. And then look at the embankments we've been doing over the years.
Wow.
We are not in any way encroaching. Instead, we preserved this canal. We preserved the land here. I don't know how they want to build anything. It's a green area. We have sewer lines running here. It's a green area. They have sewer lines running through this place. Most of the water, when it rains, collects from here and passes through here and goes on. This is it. This is it. This is it.
All right.
This is it.
All right, Jennifer.
This is it.
Jennifer, thank you very much for, speaking up and sharing this story with us. We hear your calls, and we of course, we're certain or hope that the government will not just listen via this interview, but jump into action. The most important responsibility of the government, of every government, is to guarantee, the welfare, safety, and security of citizens. And you cannot guarantee the welfare if you're taking away opportunities from them. So there have been calls that have been made to the government and the FCT, and we will do our part as media to tell the story and amplify the voices of the people, as well as the role that the government has played or should play. Thank you very much, Jennifer Ume, for joining us this morning on Breakfast Central.
For giving me a medium to say my story. I'm so grateful. Thank you. Thank you, News Central. I'm very grateful.
And please extend our sympathy to, your staff, your co-investors, and everyone who's been affected by this unfortunate demolition. Thank you, Jennifer. We'll go on a break now, and when we come back, Breakfast Central continues.
The Delta State government, in its bid to tackle security challenges in the state, has unveiled the State Security Trust Fund. The initiative is aimed at strengthening the capacity of security agencies and enhancing community safety across the state. News Central correspondent Austin Azu has more.
Delta State residents face numerous security challenges, including kidnapping, armed robbery, courtesan, crude oil theft, and drug abuse, among other antisocial vices. Against this background, business moguls, captains of industry, government officials, security chiefs, and community leaders converged on the government house in Asaba, the state capital, to birth a public-private partnership approach against insecurity, necessitating the unveiling of Delta State Security Trust Fund.
We are gathered here today to formally launch the Delta State Security Trust Fund, which was established by law in 2013. The primary function of the Delta State Security Trust Fund is to raise funds to complement the efforts of government by seeking collaboration with the private sector to support security interventions. These interventions include the acquisition and deployment of security infrastructure needed for the effective functioning of all security agencies in Delta State. The funds are also used for the training and the training of security personnel to enhance their capacity and competence in tackling violent crimes and other kind of related activities.
In their goodwill messages, Other speakers agreed that development and security are inextricably linked and must advance together.
Security of lives and property is the first function of any government.
Let us live here today not just as attendees, but as champions and ambassadors for a secure Delta State. Security is a cornerstone of sustainable development. No community, no investor, and indeed no government can thrive in an atmosphere of insecurity. What we are launching today goes beyond financial contribution. It is a strategic investment in peace, progress, and protection of life and property across our state.
Following the official inauguration of Delta State Security Trust Fund, the state now joins Lagos and Kaduna, which have set up similar security trust funds in the past. In Delta for News Central, Austin Azu.
Let's tell you that legal professionals are calling on young lawyers to embrace technology as a tool to enhance justice reform while upholding integrity and professionalism. Now, this was the focus of discussions in Abuja, where experts highlighted the growing role of innovation in Nigeria's legal system. Our correspondent Joshua Imarayi reports.
These are law students from across tertiary institutions in Abuja converging to learn how innovation and technology can shape the future of legal practice in Nigeria. At this gathering, senior legal practitioners say that the profession's future lies in the hands of young lawyers who must uphold integrity and adapt to modern realities.
We're encouraging these young ones that, look, this profession belongs to you. Leadership is almost there for you guys, to begin to exercise power, but you must do it with integrity. You must do it with honesty. You must have the hard work. The attitude of hard work is very important. But one thing again that we brought in this discussion is issue of technology. There is no way you can succeed now in 21st century without technology. It does assist, but there is also a caution, because technology sometimes can also give you wrong information.
The discussion also spotlighted gender inclusion in the judiciary, with lawyers saying that women have proven their competence to lead at the highest levels of the profession.
We had the first woman Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Aloma Mukhtar, so many years ago. And today that we are here, we have a female Chief Justice of the Federation. Is that not correct? So what is stopping any woman? It's only your own inhibitions. Nothing can stop the girl child, not to talk of a lawyer. We are bold, brave, and very, very capacitated.
Some of the students who attended the event say the engagement has strengthened their belief in using innovation to improve the justice system.
One thing to understand is that law is a practical course, and for every single thing that has been learned in this summit today, it's going to be put into practice to ensure that every single person around, maybe we could continue summits like this, or to share the innovations and ideas that we've gotten from this summit to people, practicalize it, and ensure that it turns out to be a real-life thing that could yield results for each and every one of us.
If we can use technology effectively, we can deliver justice as timely as possible. It will reduce the backlog of cases. It will reduce the burden of judges doing research over and over again.
Speakers added that the combination of integrity, innovation, and technology remains essential for young lawyers preparing to lead in a rapidly changing legal environment. In Abuja, for News Central, I am Joshua Imarayi.
The acting chairperson of Nigeria's Independent National Electoral Commission, May Agbamuchembo, has met with civil society organizations, media executives, and members of the media as part of a series of stakeholder engagements ahead of the upcoming off-cycle elections around the country. The meeting updated stakeholders of INEC's preparedness for the upcoming Anambra governorship election scheduled for November 2025, the FCDA area council elections coming up in February 2026, and the Ekiti and Osun governorship polls in June and August 2026. News Central's Aishat Salihu reports.
It's the third quarterly consultative meeting This time, the civil society organizations and media executives are in attendance as the Commission updates stakeholders on key activities ahead of the off-cycle elections, the continuous voters registration exercise, and requests for registration of political parties. Civil society organizations called on INEC to strengthen elections at the sub-national levels.
The Commission has been working assiduously and making arrangements for the successful conduct of the Anambra State governorship election, and have had several engagements with the security agencies at national, state, and local government levels. All non-sensitive materials for the election have been delivered to the states, and voter education and sensitization is ongoing.
Administering that election. We believe that subnational elections are as good as the managers, the capacity, the competence, the quality of the resident electoral commissioners and returning officers who will deliver that election is important.
The Commission further called on the media to report responsibly activities related to the elections, as media executives play their role in facilitating credible and transparent elections.
Formally remind the media that the portal remains open until midnight on the 24th of October 2025. I must stress that there shall be no extension of this deadline. We strongly urge you, all organizations and individuals who have applied, to complete their accreditation process well in advance of this deadline. Also, the media accreditation tags issued by the Commission are a vital part of our security and transparency measures.
It is through our reports, analysis, and engagement that citizens develop trust and understanding of the system. As we approach future elections, it is imperative that collaboration between INEC and the media be deepened. We must enhance capacity building for journalists covering elections and strengthen fact-checking to combat misinformation and ensure timely access to information from INEC.
The stakeholders' consultation is set up in order to thrash out grey areas, fine-tune logistics, and strengthen collaboration to ensure a smooth electoral process. In Abuja, for News Central, Aishat Salihu.
We look forward to see what INEC will do, especially as we count down to the all-important elections. But let's do this. We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll take a look at the stories making the headlines here on News Central's Breakfast Headlines. Stay with us. Let's begin with politics. Bayelsa West lawmaker Siriaki Dixon has criticized the defection of his state governor Douye Diri for the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress. Addressing correspondents at the Senate Media Center, the former Bayelsa governor described the move as a setback to Nigeria's multi-party democracy, warning that frequent defections weaken political stability and party discipline. He says unresolved internal crises and weak leadership structures have made it difficult for parties to build strong ideological foundations and retain loyalty among members. Dixon also reacted to President Bola Tinubu's nomination of Professor Josh Amupita as chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission.
I know there are people who say the governor consulted me several times to his credit. And I was not convinced because I didn't see any compelling reason for a second-term governor to defect. We know the issues in the PDP, but issues are there to be solved by the governors and the leaders. Have they not been the leaders of the parties? A democracy without opposition ceases to be democracy. It becomes dictatorship from that day. Position does not mean you have to be fighting. You have to be, here am I, supporting the president's nomination. I know there are people who say a president who is partisan should not have that power, but that is not the law as it is. That is the law as it ought to be.
Let's now move to the aviation sector. Amid allegations of corruption, contract manipulation and abuse of office, several civil society organizations in Abuja have demanded an investigation into senior officials of the Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development. The groups under the auspice of the Coalition Against Malpractices and Corruption, comprising of civil society organizations like the Center for Democracy and Human Rights, Association of Media Practitioners in Oil and Gas Producing Areas, and the Arawa Youth Alliance for Progress and Development, say that there is a need to investigate officials of the ministry over violations of the nation's Public Procurement Act and several other laws guiding the award and payment of multi-billion naira contracts to citizens.
Our request was following our investigations, which uncovered extensive violation of the Public Procurement Act 2007 by senior officials of the ministry in the award and payment of multi-billion naira contracts to non-existent companies. These companies don't exist. There are no evidence of tax payments, or even registration, but monies were paid to these companies. Newly registered entities with no track record, tax non-compliant firms, and companies whose business objectives are grossly misaligned with the contract awarded to them, amounting to over 30 billion naira.
Stakeholders in Nigeria's aviation sector, meanwhile, have thrown their weight behind the proposed bill to establish the African Aviation and Aerospace University in Abuja. They say that the bill is timely and will address the shortage of manpower threatening the growth of the African aviation and aerospace industry. Speaking at a public hearing organized by the House Committee on Aviation Technology, they say that the proposed university will position Nigeria as a continental hub for aviation research, innovation and training. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, represented by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, described the proposed university as a step in the right direction that aligns with the Ministry's long-term agenda to make Nigeria a global aviation training hub.
Nigeria lags significantly with only 22 researchers per million, underscoring the weakness of its aerospace research pipelines. Collectively, these figures substantiate the assertion that Africa and Nigeria face critical shortages of aviation professionals, thereby justifying the urgent need for institutions such as the AAAU to help close the capacity gap and align the ICAO's Next Generation of Aviation Professionals initiative.
Honored that Africa's aviation sector was projected to grow at 5.7% annually, creating an urgent need for locally trained professionals and researchers. It then became clear that Africa must develop its own high-level aviation and aerospace capacity to drive safely, innovation and competitiveness in the global industry.
But this is the time for us to begin to look at specialized universities that deal with certain aspects of national growth and development, and we must not shy away from them. It is just like once the president approved for the Federal University of Sports in Abuja.
Let's tell you that Amnesty International has urged authorities in Côte d'Ivoire to stop suppressing protests and to release detainees ahead of the October 25 presidential election. The West African country has seen widespread demonstrations since former President Laurent Gbagbo and opposition leader Tidjane Thiam were barred from running against incumbent Alassane Ouattara. Despite a government ban on protest, opposition strongholds have witnessed roadblocks and clashes with security forces. Authorities arrested over 700 people during a recent banned march in Abidjan, where tear gas was used to disperse crowds. Amnesty calls for transparency in arrests and demands the release of anyone detained peacefully. Ouattara is seeking a possible fourth term, insisting democracy must avoid violence as tensions rise. Former Democratic Republic of Congo President Joseph Kabila has rallied opposition leaders in Nairobi, Kenya, launching a new Save the DRC movement. Kabila, who ruled for nearly 20 years until 2019, was sentenced to death last month in absentia for treason-linked alleged ties with the rebel group M23. At the Nairobi meeting, opposition figures, including ex-Prime Minister Augustine Punyol, condemned President Felix Tshisekedi's handling of the country's crisis and harsh treatment of political opponents. The government in Kinshasa dismissed the gathering as a conspiracy of fugitives. Meanwhile, the DRC government recently signed a ceasefire monitoring agreement with M23 in Doha, signaling ongoing tensions in the region's east. Let's tell you again that the African Union has suspended Madagascar after an elite military unit led by Colonel Michael Randerinia seized power following the impeachment of President André Rajoelina. The move plunges the Indian Ocean island nation into political crisis, with Randerinia set to be sworn in as transitional president this Friday. The new leadership promises elections within 2 years and a restructuring of key institutions. The coup follows weeks of protests sparked by shortages of water and energy. The United Nations condemned the takeover as unconstitutional, while the capital, Antananarivo, remains calm despite lingering uncertainty. A youth movement that sparked the protests expressed cautious optimism about the military's intervention and called for systemic change. That does it for the news here on Breakfast Headlines. Don't forget to join us at 12 for a more robust news bulletin for the 12 report with blessings. Stay with us. Breakfast Central continues. The front pages of the newspapers will be up next. Thanks for staying with us once again here on Breakfast Central. Now, I know Wingard asked me this question last week when we had this particular special analyst in the house, if I could run through his new designation. And I said, well, that's pretty easy because the individual himself is here. He's going to do it himself. So we have Mr. Wade Ahime, who now is, please go ahead and reintroduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Wade Ahime. I'm now the Chief Coordinating Officer at Sustainable Stories Africa. Only working here on Friday.
I was
So he's no longer, he doesn't wear the nairametrics hat anymore.
Yes.
It's now Sustainable Stories and is the chief.
Do you know why that is so important that he's telling us that now? Sustainability, when you think of sustainability, the color is color green. And he's wearing green.
And you're wearing the blue that goes with it. So it's land and ocean, water.
So we are the only sustainable people.
Mud. No. He
cement.
No, it's just to pollute the air. Pollution.
Oh my goodness.
Pollution. Air pollution.
Great to have you, Ade.
Thank you to be.
Thank you for being here.
Great to be here.
Just to announce as well, our phone lines, I did get a message from someone saying that he couldn't get
We don't
through,
take phone calls again.
Hopefully
We do.
we're able to get the phone lines up and running again. You have the numbers on the screen. Feel free to call and get your reactions up and running. I'm going to pass it over to Winga. What paper you think we go with first?
Let's start off with the Punch newspaper. Sorry, the Leadership newspaper. Okay. The Punch news. What's going on this
I think our people need coffee.
Yes.
Yeah.
The DJ behind track one. Give us Punch newspaper.
More like
Yes, and the headline is screaming. I mean, I'm sure most of the papers have this headline. Hurricane Tinubu is what they've named it. Mass defection ignites one-party state fears. As it's no longer news that the governor of Enugu State, Peter Mba, defected into the fold of the APC yesterday. Also on the front page of the Punch newspaper, Lagos rejects National Assembly Central Gaming Bill. Yes, Lagos is rejecting that. And 4 arraigned over murder of Osun local government chairman. House probes $35 million modular refinery project. And Senate screens new INEC chair, Amu Peter, today, Professor Amu Peter. Jonathan Slam's successor for abandoning Bielsa projects. And presidential jet still unsold 4 months after listing. Maybe Wade, your new capacity. It might help Nigeria. You can buy that jet and use it for your trips. Inflation drops to 18.02% in 6 months streak. So some positive news there. But let's start with the big one, mass defections. Entire states of assemblies moved to the ruling APC. Governors moving, even the ones that are not moving have endorsed Mr. President for a second term. What's really going on? Is it something to be worried about, or it's part of politics?
Well, first and foremost, it's part of politics. Should we be worried about a one-party state? Well, we had envisaged this some time back, and we had spoken about it.
Yeah, in the political transfer window.
Yes.
That day we did the football
Nigerian
thing.
Political League. Nigerian Political League.
It's coming live.
Yes. So the season, during the rainy season transfer period, we saw, we're saying then that there are a number of them who were doing medicals.
Yeah.
And I hear that there are still 3 more who they are working on their medicals, and once they are confirmed, I'm sure before the end of the Harmattan window, we'll get another 3. So maybe you have like 30 governors, maybe 31 now with the APC. But we've always talked about the possibility with the way things have been turning out that we could have a one-party state. I remember early when I started here and we were talking about it. I did mention it, that it's not impossible for President Tinubu to go ahead and get everybody to become a one-party state. Is it dangerous for democracy? Well, I don't think it is. I do think what it should be, or what should happen, is that the opposition should start looking more inwards and asking themselves, are they really opposing anything? But also politicians should step back and ask, are you politicking for the people, or you're politicking for yourself?
So if you say that the opposition should ask themselves if they're really opposing anything, this is opposition as is, or opposition pre all the defections. So what then happens?
Whether it is pre, during, post.
Because now, if everybody then moves into one party, then there is zero opposition at all.
But you remember what we said last time, that we were talking about who has the finances to move players from one party to the other, and that's what's happening here. The other parties are looking, and sometimes I look at it and I see just behind, when they say in law, when you remove the veil of incorporation, so we see some form of subtle bullying that is happening. Many of them will tell you that they are moving because they want to be able to work with the federal government in terms of federal projects and things like that, and federal presence. The question now becomes, what's the essence of having a federal government if it's not going to have attention for 36 states in terms of creating the right kind of infrastructure?
Yeah, because the Constitution guarantees
exactly.
that. Yeah.
So I'm also confused. So why are they moving? Especially if you look at Governor Dixon. This is his second term.
No, Governor Diri.
Diri, I beg your pardon. Diri, this is his second term, his final. And why are you moving? And again, what could be on offer? Because again, if we want to look at it from the angle of what we've said in terms of a football league, a player would move to a club because they're offering him more pay, they're offering him more playing time, they're offering him a good medical care and so on. Now let's bring it down to the political space. Why would a governor want to leave his party and go
Did you just hear what I said earlier?
Yes.
About federal presence.
I'm plugging into Abuja.
No. You see, plugging into. Oh, what is federal presence?
Won't your state get a federal allocation?
Exactly.
No. Your allocation for the state is different from when the federal government decides that they want to build infrastructure in your state. They're two different things. You don't have that capacity. That's one. Your allocation is different from the fact when federal government has to guarantee the loans that you want to take to build infrastructure.
Okay,
that's another part.
So we're seeing two reasons.
So they have to kowtow to
Well, I don't know whether they have to kowtow. What you usually should do is say, okay, these are the things that we want to do. And then the federal government will sit with you and say, okay, what is feasible, what is right? Can your allocation pay for this? If you collect this loan, over what period will it pay? Are you generating enough money?
So the federal government is acting as a surety.
Well,
as a guarantee, a guarantor.
Like I said.
No,
yes,
I really want to know why they are moving.
No. For I like the point you raised. It's starting to look external loan.
The federal government must stand.
Oh, yeah, there must be federal government guarantee.
I think we've highlighted one. We've gotten one.
So
loans, external loans, reason to.
And like I said, federal government presence in terms of projects.
Infrastructure.
Exactly. You don't have the kind of capacity that, because federal government can wake up tomorrow and take a loan and say they want to use it to build,
like for example,
the roads in, what's it called? Like for example, they are building Lagos Calabar Road.
Coastal Road.
Exactly. Coastal Road.
Every state that is a beneficiary.
Look at what happened with the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road. Edo State was not part of it before. You remember when the minister was talking about it, that there is a variation. Edo State is now part of it.
Because they are playing ball.
I don't know. They are now.
So if Kwara State is now playing ball, will the Coastal Road go to Kwara? And
also, what do you do with all this kind of infrastructure? No. But let's remember one thing. When you're building road networks, if Kwara State is already APC, so if another state, it could not. Okay, let me give an example. That Coastal Road that gets to Calabar, where's Calabar? Where's Bayelsa?
South.
Yes, but Calabar is right at the end. Oh, they can decide that it's not passing Bayelsa. You don't understand? Wow. The same way that you are taking it from Lagos. So, are you with me? Why does it get into Benin?
This brings us to a bigger conversation about restructuring and the sort of federation we have. Because I don't think this existed in the First Republic.
Well, I'm not. I'm not conversant with that history.
You didn't exist during the First Republic. But states regions, we had regions there. They competed on their own comparative advantage. You had the cocoa plantations in the southwest, the granite pyramids in the north.
So revenue generation then by region was mostly the region gets and then you put into the center. But when the military took over in '66, they harnessed everything.
Yeah, everything goes to the center.
Then we decide where it goes. That's why I said also there is a form of subtle bullying that is happening in the wings.
So shouldn't we call for restructuring?
So let me give an example. With Ekiti State, is it Ekiti State? No, Osun State.
Osun State.
The local government allocation. The governor. Oh no! It goes to the elections were not right. Okay, so we hold the what's it called? In Rivers State, they held down the allocation to Rivers State, suspended the governor, and then released the. So there is subtle bullying everywhere, and all this.
Is that why the governors are afraid and they are joining in?
I don't know whether the governor said. Most of the governors have said that it is because of the vision of the president, which they align with, and that's fine. That's fair enough.
I want to also mention to our viewers that if you want to call, the numbers to call on your TV screen. We'll take a few calls today as we proceed with the newspaper review. So please, if you would like to make a comment, the numbers to call are on your TV screen. I'd like us now to look at the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. On the front page, defection is the big story. Intrigues as Deputy Governor, 2 senators, rep members, ditch Bayelsa government. Why I dumped PDP, Diri says. Solution to PDP's problem is not by joining APC, according to Seriaki Dixon. Diri's decision changes the state's political outlook. First time since 1999, more rep members will follow Bayelsa governor soon, according to a source. Let's start with that and then we'll come into other stories. So we're seeing the current Bayelsa governor has moved to the APC. Former Bayelsa state governor has criticized this move, basically saying we die here with the PDP.
I think we have a video.
It also says, he's a second-term governor, so why is he there? But I think we should take
Let's take a look at the video.
If we have the video, please, let's put that video up so we can have a clear context of what was said, and align it to the papers as well in the course of that. Let's see. Okay.
While we're waiting for the video, let me just say something. You mentioned most particularly a second-term governor. The question is, why at all, whether it's first time or second term?
Sorry to interrupt.
The governor consulted me several times to his credit. And I was not convinced because I didn't see any compelling reason for a second-term governor to defect. We know the issues in the PDP, but issues are there to be solved by the governors and the leaders. Have they not been the leaders of the parties? A democracy without opposition ceases to be democracy. It becomes dictatorship from that day. Position does not mean you have to be fighting. You have to be, here am I, supporting the president's nomination. I know there are people who say a president who is partisan should not have that power, but that is not the law as it is. That is the law as it ought to be.
That is Senator Seriake Dickson speaking about his, throwing his allegiance behind the PDP. Let's get your reaction to that.
So, like I said, every governor or anybody who moves from one party to the other has his own personal reasons. Although the governor of Bayelsa has not stated clearly his own reasons, but when I listen to the former governor of Bayelsa State, Seriake Dickson, and when he mentioned particularly a second-term governor, my question will be, if you have an ideology with a party, whether you are first-term or second-term, then you should remain with that party, except those ideologies are no longer being followed. However, we've seen in Nigerian political terrain that there is no ideology.
I was going to come to that.
The only ideology that is available is the ideology of you being in office.
Yeah, by any means necessary. Just get me in office.
Waiting there on ground.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I said last week, that's my new rule. Any walk,
anything,
any walk,
any walk.
Any walk. So that's really, so him complaining, well, he has a right to give his comment as a senior member of the PDP. But the question now remains, why is everybody moving? Well, I've tried to, in my own opinion, highlight maybe one or two things that is leading to it. But whether, like I said, whether it's first time or second time governor, makes no difference.
Well, then you said there's no ideology. Okay, fine. Let's agree to disagree that there's no ideology. What about basic principles, gentlemanly principles? This was a political party. Looking at historical precedents also, since 1999, PDP has held sway in Bayelsa State, and you just wake up in your second term and decide to move for one reason or the other. If you don't have ideology, what about just the principles of continuity and just
continuity,
general
let me trade back at you. Continuity for who? The state, or continuity for me,
the party that gave you your ticket in the first place?
When you now come to that, there's a second part of it, which says, when you are elected on a party platform, let's remember that, because when you are elected on a party platform. And I know it's part of the things that happened in River State at the beginning. When you defect, you should no longer be in that office because you are no longer a member of that party.
But there's a caveat there that says if there's a crisis in your party.
Wow, that's a caveat everyone is using.
That's what
my question will be this. What's the crisis in the PDP?
They will tell you, one, that the party is not stable.
Stability in
terms of the
leadership
stability. There's leadership instability. So everyone is starting to jump ship. People don't know
why. Because all of them have refused to sit down as leaders.
So for that reason, they don't want to sit. They just want
to. So it brings
we don't feel like sitting. We feel like you can't be.
So it brings me back to where we started.
We don't feel like sitting.
The principles for who? Is it for the party, the state, or for my own principles? My own principles is there work here?
Exactly.
Yes. Take the work.
Follow the winning team.
I don't know whether it's winning or losing, but just take the work first. That's the way I look at it. Take the work first.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to another story. Pueblo gives employment letters to 5,000 teachers. I think we have the footage of that video. The footage of that.
He seems to be in the news a lot these days, and is really is a working governor.
Akpako.
Is that what they call it?
Yes.
Yes. The only governor with the enter gutter and poto.
Excuse me?
It shows that he's working.
Yeah, he's hands-on. The other day, you were here when we featured that story. So after that, he went to, he was inspecting a site and he entered a muddy place. in local parlance, they call that muddy place Poto Poto.
Poto Poto.
It's not Poto Poto.
Not Poto Poto. Poto Poto.
Poto Poto.
I mean,
IMF hails Nigeria's fiscal reforms.
Oh, and there's
Please,
a new
what's going
one too. You know, his state of origin is Edo State, so we have to update him on his governor's activities. Say if you don't wear Ashiwaju cap.
No, my state of, so there's nothing like state of origin.
Yeah, we know your
ancestral home.
My parents' ancestral home.
Okay.
My ancestral home is Lagos. Where I was born.
You are not qualified to be an ancestor. You can't be an ancestor by yourself.
I'm a first-generation Lagosian.
Okay.
You want to ask that? Are you a Lagosian?
I'm a first-generation Lagosian.
Okay. Are you a Lagosian?
I'm a Lagosian by choice.
No. Where were you born?
Lagos.
So your parents migrated to Lagos?
Yeah, in Lagos.
So you're a first generation Lagosian. So let nobody be speaking other English for you for state of origin. The current president is the state of origin Lagos.
It's Ocean State. Iragbeji. Okay. Anyway, let's get back to the issue.
So when everybody continues to play that ball, and I've asked my lawyer sister.
I'm not, you didn't ask me. I'm not around.
I said go and look at the constitution where there is state of origin.
I'm not around though.
Anyway, back to the Edo State governor. Yes, I have to give you updates on him. He said if you are not wearing the Ashiwaju cap as a commissioner, you shouldn't come for the meeting. You'll be bad.
It's fine now. That's why he's governor. He's the CEO.
Do you have that cap, by the way?
Which cap?
The Ashiwaju cap. The infinity logo.
No.
Oh, your fashion style, you hardly even wear caps anyway. So
if I go to wear a cap, I'll wear my.
Or maybe
South cap.
If our producers have that video in the South talking about the South in Port Harcourt, maybe you might be inspired to change your fashion.
I can never forget those with your oversized caps.
It was from yesterday, that picture. I like that image. You know, there was this guy that was sitting down.
It's inspirational.
There's a way that guy sat down.
You guys, you tend to forget that at the point in time, I used to wear hats.
I remember.
Like I told Joe, I need to also.
But there's a hat, there's a special.
It would be nice to have it to inspire you this morning.
Inspired. We'll try
as we're approaching the weekend
out and show it to you. From yesterday, we covered that clearly, so you can see it. But then again, while we wait for the footage to come on, let's look at this big story. INEC, keep your reputation intact. Obi tells Amokutan. Obi is talking. All of a sudden, he's back. He said he went to pray for Nigeria, and now he's back. So,
Daddy,
welcome back, Daddy. He's saying that Abuja should keep his reputation.
Prayer without action.
Well, how much action can he do?
No, I'm just saying about Nigeria generally. And not Peter Obi specifically.
Nigerians like prayer.
Prayer, but they don't act. So you pray, finish from the prayer, then you enter your car and drive one way. So that's prayer. You were talking about...
IMF hails Nigeria's fiscal reforms, calls for smarter spending, stronger tax system.
You see what they've called for? Smarter spending, stronger tax system.
Stronger again?
And inflation has dropped. And you remember what the president said?
Dropped by 18.0.
Yeah, but this new
this time, about 2%, over 2% drop, almost 2%, over 2% drop. But the question I continue to ask is this: yes, from the macro level, and which is what everybody continues to push, but from the micro level, is consumer spending velocity increasing? No. Is money in circulation still high? Yes. So until we start to feel it, I was at the discussion earlier in the year, and someone said, oh, by 2026, 2027, we'll start to see that consumer spending. Maybe some of it has started to come, because like now you can pay for some of your small services that you have outside Nigeria with your Naira card. So yeah, maybe we'll start to feel that effect in from 2026. And if that happens, then I can clearly now say, okay, yes, the macros are completely working in terms of implementation. However, the other part of it for me, which is what I've continually asked, is what are you comparing it to? Because there was a basis before. You should be able to reflect that. And when you rebase an economy, the first thing you do over the first 6 months is say, okay, see, this is what it was. This is how much spending that was in this basket, and that spending has gone down. in my own opinion, what was done is you move quantities from one spending to another spending, which basically is lower, and then it becomes a higher base. And of course, the impact automatically is felt, because if food spending is 50-60%, and the its basis point on the hierarchy of the consumer price index is 60, then you know it's going to be high. But if food spending remains at 60% and the basis comes to 30, you've already cut it by half. And then you share it among the ones that will never get, all of them put together doesn't get to the food spending. So they should show us those comparisons. That's my own. And once they do that, then we as analysts and those who have a bit of knowledge about finance can start to ask those questions. Okay, that's fine. So let's see. Some people say food prices are coming down. Yeah, some prices have come down. But let's also remember, one of the reasons why food prices are coming down is the harvest season just finished. So the supply has increased. This is a market that we've dealt in all our lives. Anyway.
Okay, let's take our last paper, the Leadership newspaper. And on the front page of the Leadership newspaper, we can see, yes, top left, Leadership 2023 conference speaker Raila Odinga dies at 80. He was in Nigeria 2 years ago for their conference. And I mean, we did break the news yesterday. Students give lecturers, government 7 days to resolve dispute. What would the students
What will you do?
After 7 days?
When I saw it, I said, okay.
No, sometimes they disrupt vehicular traffic and spill onto the express road.
To protest on the road.
Yes. And that's very disruptive.
If the police will give them the permission, and it could lead to so many other things, which is why the police will always say, what's it called? But Aluta must continue.
I was trying to look for the details of that, because we've seen here the Nigerian National Association of Nigerian Students.
Sorry, just to interject you. You heard what that on improved harvest.
Yes.
You remember what I just said at the closing? The supply has increased. Anyway, that's why prices have gone down. By December into January, when we're going into the next harvesting season, by November, January, February, before we get to the next harvesting season, we'll see.
All right. So just to, we'll come back to that, but just to touch on the story about NANS. NANS has been very active in the news lately. The most recent protest we saw was in support of Dangote refinery and against Pengasson. But now NANS is saying they have issued a 7-day ultimatum to the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities to resolve their ongoing disputes and prevent another strike action. In the statement signed by President Olushola Oladoja on Wednesday, the students' body expressed concern over the growing tension between the government and ASU, warning that any disruption to the academic calendar will be unacceptable to Nigerian students. Again, they'll block traffic and all that. But
it will be unacceptable.
How much influence does NANS have in getting the necessary stakeholders to the table? Well, and some days ago, we had a guest who said that he thinks that NANS, ASU, and the federal government should shelve that 2009 agreement and then make a fresh one. But let's get your thoughts.
So, how do you make let me just first touch on that. How do you come to a new agreement, you get, if the issues are still the same? If the issues remain the same, how do you come to that? That's one. And then NANS saying, I don't know, when it used to be Nigerian Union or is it non, so I can't remember. That's when they were strong. The Okelwos, but at the end of the day, NANS, for me, we usually dance to the politics of whoever is the piper, and definitely is never the school. You know, it's usually the government. So what can they do? They will request to do a march so that they can complain about it, which is fair. But the truth remains is both parties should sit down, look at those agreements, those that can, you say, okay, let's move them forward into something new. Let's do that. Those that we can quickly implement. So for instance, they said, backlog of salaries. Can you pay it? Just, if you can, pay it and let everybody be at least happy because of the no work, no pay rule. And they did threaten them again with that no work, no pay rule.
No work, no pay rule. You know, what are your thoughts about it?
But it's standard. It's part of labor practices. When you go on strike, and if for any reason, because there are, according to labor laws, there are agreements for unions and all, and give enough notice while you are negotiating. And if it doesn't come to be, are you with me? There is a time limit that you can go on strike and make sure that those things are resolved. After that, then the organizations will tell you that they are not producing. So how do you pay for revenues that are not being made? You know. So really, all over the world. For instance, in America, you go on leave, they don't pay you any vacation fees. So, and that's why most people will do 2 weeks, unlike other countries and so on. So that is something that we need to resolve. If you had agreed that you were going to pay it, then just quickly pay that and then let them go back while you are renegotiating, you know, what the other details are. And I think that's how it should be. But for now, I guess they would ask to protest. What they're also trying to do is, you know, share raise their voice so that, you know, parents can hear. Because whether it's ASU or the federal government, their parents.
Okay, let's go to bottom right. Bottom right of the leadership newspaper, because I do not want us to get so carried away and desensitized with the fact that they're still killing Nigerians in different parts of the country. There were fresh attacks. 13 killed in renewed plateau attacks. 13 persons have been confirmed dead following separate attacks on Rachas village in Haipang district and Rawuru village in Fan district of Bakinladi local government area of Plateau State. The chairman of the council, Stephen Pwajok, described the late-night assault on Tuesday as unprovoked and deeply regrettable. He condemned the killings, commiserated with the bereaved families, and assured residents that the government remains committed to restoring the sustaining peace in the area. Again, another 13. When will we have a week that we don't see one community ravaged?
Well, that could be a bit challenging until our security system improves greatly. And it's not just it's about trying to understand and follow those attacks rather than reaction. So he's being proactive rather than being reactive. But first and foremost, my condolences to the families of those 13 people who lost their lives. They are not, in my own opinion, they are not Plateau State indigenes. Yeah. They are Nigerians. That's the first thing. And many Nigerians are being killed. I remember a report that came out not too long ago in 2024, close to, I think, maybe between 120 and 200,000 Nigerians were killed. For I think it was, I don't want to give them free PR, but they are my friends. But that's it, and that's the work they do. They go around and they look at those things, and then they come out with those reports. Maybe I will send the report to you guys, and then you look at it, and then maybe you call one of them and speak to him. But the fact remains that those 13 people are Nigerians, and we should always remember that the life of one Nigerian is very important. No matter, like the national anthem says, though tribe and tongue may differ, we must all remain brotherhood as Nigerians. And I would close with that. Thank
Absolutely.
you very much.
And kudos to the newspaper for honoring the memories of this fallen Nigerians, because we might have the tendency of, the editorial responsibility to put it on the front page, do we report this or not? Because sometimes the government would come and say, look, you reporting these things just reinforces the bad news. As it's not our patriotic duty not to report it. Being patriotic is actually to tell Nigerians the way things are. It's our responsibility, and I'm glad we are speaking about it. We also appreciate the work the armed forces are doing. We're in a different time in terms of the type of warfare we're facing, asymmetrical warfare. But I believe, we'll rise above this challenge. We have no choice. And I hope this would motivate those in charge of our security formations to step up and do better. It's tragedy. It's enough tragedy for one Nigerian life to be lost, let alone 13 on a weekly basis.
All right,
Terrible.
Benga, we have to wrap up now, but you wanted to make reference to a picture.
Okay, just before we go, as we approach the weekend, today is penultimate day to Friday, and a gift from us here, because we noticed you stopped wearing hat for a long time. I want to bring you back to the hat fold. So hopefully our producers have done a fantastic job. Hopefully this inspires your next fashion choice in terms of hat.
Producers?
Who the cap fits. Producers, please, can we have it?
Who the cap fits.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Fantabulous.
Wow, and this green one on the right goes with your green.
Why is that guy on green? Why is he looking so uncomfortable, like there's a stone on his head?
Unfortunately, it's not today that I don't wear caps. I've never, so when you give me the strip, I really don't sew them. So I don't wear caps from time immemorial.
But
so
what we're saying,
inspired
you should
by
think about
Governor
it.
Pebolo.
Because the governor said you have to...
Akpako governor.
He goes in a do state.
Governor with the entire Governor with the entire Poto. Okay, we have to go now. But
please, but before we go, we want you to choose a hat, the type you would like to sew.
he doesn't wear hats. Is by force? Please, our YouTube audience, Mokunye Chukwemeka says, inflation, they said, is down. Living expenses is skyrocketing every day. How do we explain this in economics? Prince Ajibade also echoes that thought, says, people's purchasing power is very low. We're now used to not eating healthy. We're okay with eating for survival and not satisfaction. As a citizen, there's nothing that I'm benefiting from this country. I provide my water, pay heavily for power. I provide my own security, pay heavily for my kids' education, and the list goes on. These are the sentiments of our virtual audience, and quite frankly, not just the virtual audience. It represents how a number of people feel. Those that are not yet at the upper echelon of society. Things are expensive. We can't deny that. So beyond the figures, we want to see that translated into everyday purchases. When I buy rice in the market, I don't want to buy it the same rate I bought it last month. But that does it for us.
You want to buy higher?
No, higher, I beg you, cheaper.
You have to be specific.
Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back again. I want to wrap up by giving a shout out to Dr. Ben Collins Okonta and his beautiful wife, Kalista Dumebi Okonta, who have their wedding anniversary today. Happy married, is it happy? Yeah, happy married life. That's what you say to people who have been married.
Happy wedding anniversary.
They've been married for what, 20, 21 years now. I can't even keep track. In this day and age, yes, I think that.
I'm approaching 1 year of marriage next week.
You 1 year, we celebrate you. So happy married life. I love you both so much, and I wish you many more beautiful years together. We'll be back again tomorrow. Thank you for joining us. I am Olive Emodi.
And I'm Benga Borough. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
It's Wade. I'm Johansson. Bye.
Bye, everyone.